Hey, this is Erin Stetzer with Stetzer Builders, and I'm here with Shannon with Mann Designs and Rubia with Reagan Andre Architecture. And we're actually in a home that we, as a team, built together. So we're going to walk through the designer's role, the architect's role, the builder's role, and how we all collaborate together. Shannon, let's start with you. What is all of this home building business stuff? How does it work?
Well, it kind of all depends like who comes into play first. Obviously the homeowner, but do they already have the builder? Have they already defined the architect, or have they just come to me first because we have a relationship already in place? But whichever the order, the key is about the team coming together, and then we have our defined roles, and then it becomes this amazing tapestry of collaboration where we work on each other's strong points, and so that's what makes it all happen in the end.
Yeah, and you were saying, Shannon, that it's such a gift when the team comes together, and I think ideally in an ideal world it comes together sooner in the process than later, but I think having that connection, that trust, and knowing that we are all working on the same team and we have the client's best interest in mind, but we are also all responsible for that equally. So it is about collaboration. It's not about who gets to shine in the end. I think if the end, the client gets the product, which we love creating, right? We love designing, we love wanting to see the best outcome. At the end of the day, if the client wins, we all win.
So, what's the value we bring to a homeowner approaching this entire process as a team?
I think the key is that you have a better understanding of your costs because you know the caliber up front, because you've taken into consideration your landscape, the architecture, your AV. You're looking at it as a whole versus, well, let's just get it started, and then you start adding on, and then there's more complications. For example, whether it's with the floor guys or the plumbers or whatever, because I'll have this vision, but my vision is not successful without either of you. Mm-hmm. So there's all of a sudden a support beam in the ceiling that's not going to allow for that ceiling detail to be there in that way. So it's like, okay, let's recreate. What can we do? What's the modification? This dining room ceiling was one of them. We had to go back and forth. We wanted it popped up, and in the end it's fabulous, but it was not the first or second try with it. But it took the framer, it took all three of us, the electrician, the steel fabricator, for that one detail that when you just draw it on paper seems like a given.
And that actually happened during construction. We just weren't quite there on the details, and the walls are up and Shannon's trying to figure out, how do I want the ceiling to work? I need to see it, and then we work through it. That's a really good example.
Yeah, and same thing with all the hidden draperies, the pockets for draperies. That was a lot to work through. I mean, we were talking inches that we're discussing, not large spans of stuff. I mean, you guys are in there just micromanaging every little detail, and it's like that on a daily basis at different points. So,
And I think a good team, that's what they do. They put aside their ego and saying, it's not my goal of executing this vision is not too important because it was something that I had said first. It's about, let's make it work. What are the options? And I think when we have the different areas of expertise and strengths, we're bringing that to the table. And I think that's the value that all of us bring to the client, right? To have our different knowledges come together and integrate with each other so that we know, okay, when we're looking at one light fixture, it's not just about it going in the ceiling. It's about it missing beams. It's about it working centered within a certain, area, working with the other base trims on all these other, I think, again, a good team, for them, it comes naturally. And I think a good relationship, some things are easy, and having difficult conversations, if they're done with ease, I think you can achieve some amazing results.
For sure.
What about the outlets in this island?
Oh, the outlets, we wanted to have something hidden that wasn't so obvious. So I said, have you seen that circle outlet that's just the outlet? You said no. So you have a picture and you're like, on it, found it, I'm ordering one, they're expensive, but we're gonna try it. So
yeah, and you were excited to try that new thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's...
And learn, right? So now because of you, we can provide that for other clients in the future. How would you distinguish maybe the difference between, the architect and designer, or even what should people look for in your experience in a designer or architect?
I would
this
say...
right here.
Yeah.
You look for these two.
They travel. They travel everywhere.
They travel.
That's perfect. I'd say for me, the main difference is maybe a lot of the end visual results, you'll always see the interior designer's hand, whether it's even the exterior, and I think that's kind of a misnomer. We also collaborated on exterior, colors and kind of textures on the brick. So a lot of the visual end product, the interior designer has a hand in. Our role as an architect might get into more of the technical behind the scenes, whether it's permitting, code, working with different subs or consultants like the structural engineer, civil engineer, because you're all, at the end of the day, dealing with all of those trades, bringing it all together. So what I would like to see my role as, to help you as much as I can, support the knowledge from my, when I was drawing it before construction started, because I was looking at all the trades combined, to when you're actually working with all the trades combined.
So you bring the technical detail to keep that project moving forward, to stay aligned with Shannon's vision and your vision, right? So
yeah, I think it's a real dual factor. I think it's the best when we all start at the beginning.
Yeah.
An architect, in my mind, really thinks at it from an engineering standpoint as well, just from the detail and structure. Like space planning, I love to do it all day long, but then I'm like, Rubia, how do we get upstairs? Will this is gonna work here? That's why we like collaborating. But I love to sit in on that point, because I'm thinking about how people are gonna sit in that space, how much flow is gonna happen, and you think about that as well. But I think when we collaborate on it, you just miss very little, because it's like if someone's not thinking about that distance between the TV and the sofa, or how you're going to get around the room and what that light's like, how it's coming in, there's just all those factors where it's back and forth. But we can't do what you do, so I love the collaboration, because it's like all those little framing details, like in the cased openings, like those little extra things. You're like, oh yeah, we can do that. I'm like, okay, good. Like I saw it, but I'm like, I don't know how we get it done.
But I think that's what makes a great interior designer like yourself, is that the fact that you can have those conversations, and that I look to Shannon as well when it comes to a lot of, these decisions, getting her opinion about the space flow, the logic of the space, using how the clients think they're going to use it.
And the expansiveness, so you're stuck between the lines, right? Like you're drawing lines, right? So your head's, pretty myopic in some ways during construction. Like if I need a detail on a baseboard, right? And then you get this other expansive, thought in the process.
The out there person.
That's right. That's right. You blow everyone away. Yeah. Right, and so it helps.
Great. It's like when we're here and we're in these meetings, I'm like, yeah, and if it can be like that, and Rubia's like, yeah, and then y'all all start talking. I'm like, okay, I'll be back. I'll be back.
But I think maybe that's another interesting. And I always come back to this as my own personal kind of take on architecture. That architecture is 100% science and 100% art. It's not half science, half art, or mostly technical with a little bit design thrown in. I think it's 100% good design, 100% good science, and that's what, knowing that we can bring that passion in, on both, you want to execute those technical details to a T. We're just as concerned about that, but at the end of the day, all of us are just as concerned and excited about when something comes together beautifully.
Okay, so we want to leave you with something, and my question is, what are the takeaways that we can give to our clients?
I would say trust is number one between the client and each of us, and then with us, with one another.
I think problem solving is another. Having a competent, knowledgeable team, bringing on all those, their experience to come together and problem solve, because that's always something that we deal with every day.
Right, and then the communication behind it. Like, we have the client, we communicate with the client, we have each other, we communicate with each other, and we have the executors, the teams that execute. So all of that has to be wrapped into one package with a bow.
Absolutely.